All right. So today we have volatility coach Chetan Jain. He's Bangalore based. And the topic for today's session is portfolio strategy. So basically, what kind of portfolio we can choose for our investors to get the best of the best returns. So Chetan ji, we can start now.
Am I audible now?
Perfectly clear, sir.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. So basically, the topic what I'll be discussing is on portfolio strategies. So portfolio strategies सब अपने अपना एडवाइजर का या एमएफडी का या वीसी का अपना अपना स्ट्रेटेजी होता है. बेसिकली मैंने ऐसा प्रेजेंटेशन बनाया है जो थोड़ा बहुत थियोरेटिकल भी है, थोड़ा बहुत प्रैक्टिकल भी है. थियोरेटिकल इसलिए जरूरी है ताकि वी अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल इन और व्हिच आर बीइंग प्रैक्टिस्ड इन मार्केट. और प्रैक्टिकली इसके लिए है कि आई विल शो यू कपल ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच आई प्रैक्टिस सो दैट यू कैन रिलेट टू इट वेदर वो थियरी के साथ रिलेट हो रहा नहीं हो रहा या प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में इज इट पॉसिबल फॉर समवन टू रेप्लिकेट और इट इज हेल्पिंग मी. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई थॉट आई शेयर. So shall I start sharing the picture to one?
Yes, sir. You can share the screen.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, visible, sir.
Okay. So basically, portfolio strategies. As I said, that there are different practices which every individual does market. Probably it depends on the comfortable how the MFD or how the advisor is comfortable with, and how easy he find one strategy to replicate practically. So basically, so that's the reason. But what I thought is, we try to bring maximum practices, in this presentation, which practically someone can follow, as well as if somebody is not following, he can learn and follow it. So basically, before we see what kind of portfolio strategy we want, we have to first know what are the asset class which are available basically in market. So अगर आप देखोगे different types of asset class, because when you do a portfolio strategy or you do asset allocation, you should know each and every assets which are available for an investor to invest in, and what kind of the risk associated with these assets. So basically, I will not go in deep with each of these assets because I'm sure this is a very literate crowd, financially literate crowd. सबको पता है क्या है. Just brushing on it. So I include in stocks. This is one of the asset class which is high risk, high return. That can be government bond or any corporate bond, anything, or NCD, real estate. It can be either a physical or maybe there is something called fractional ownership kind of a product which is available right now in terms of PMS. Then we have mutual funds which we are doing it. Commodities, it can be in the form of mutual fund, it can be in the form of ETF, it can be in the form of physical commodity also. Derivatives, and then alternates. Alternates can be many things. So roughly these are the asset class which are available with any individual. तो अगर आपको allocate करना है तो इसी के अंदर allocate करना portfolio based on the risk profile of the client or based on the investors investment horizon. So what I've done is basically, if you see what are the kind of portfolio strategies, basically any portfolio strategies are actually divided into two strategies. जितने भी practices market में हो रहा है ये दो चीज में डिवाइड हो गए हैं. या तो आप एक्टिवली पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज करो या पैसिवली करो. So there are two types of strategy. One is active portfolio strategy and the other is passive portfolio strategy. Okay. So active portfolio strategy, basically there are two types of active portfolio: asset allocation based investment strategy or risk based investment strategy. या तो आप एक asset allocation टाइप में क्लाइंट को कितना asset allocation करना है या मार्केट के हिसाब से, या you feel that equity will do well in next 1 year, or you feel that equity may not do well, debt will do well, or maybe gold will do well. So you allocate based on asset allocation. So the portfolio structure is based on the market dynamics, what an advisor is feeling. एक advisor को confident लगता है कि next 3 साल में भैया equity अच्छा करेगा तो equity में higher allocation होगा. उसको लगता है equity perform नहीं कर पाएगा तो शायद वो debt में ज्यादा allocate कर पाएगा. या फिर gold, he can decide the allocation based on the market dynamics and based on his experience. The second strategy what he can follow straightly is a risk based investment strategy. यहाँ पे हम लोग client का risk profile करते हैं. What kind of risk profile he is into, वो कितना risk ले सकता है, how much risk he can take. Based on that we decide his portfolio strategy. So, and passive में simple है, index based investment strategy. So you allocate into index funds and you don't have to actively manage, but generally you decide allocation and put it in index and stay invested. So if I have to compare these two strategy, active and passive, I'm sure everyone knows about it, but just brushing on it. Investment objective for active is to outperform the benchmark. जिस भी पोर्टफोलियो में आप इन्वेस्टेड हो या आपका क्लाइंट का पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्ट करवा रहे हो, उस बेंचमार्क को आपको बीट करना, दैट इज द इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव. एंड पैसिव का कोई पैसिव पोर्टफोलियो का ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि वो बेंचमार्क को मैच करे. इट हैज टू मैच विद द बेंचमार्क परफॉर्मेंस. कॉस्ट में आ जाएगा तो एक्टिव का कॉस्ट ज्यादा होगा बिकॉज यस देयर इज अ चर्निंग इन द पोर्टफोलियो, देयर इज अ डायनामिकली मैनेज हायर मैनेजमेंट फीस, देयर इज अ फंड मैनेजमेंट टीम, देयर इज अ रिसर्च टीम. So there are a lot of churning and you can say trading activity which happens in the portfolio. That's the reason management fee ज़्यादा होगा. Passive में there will be a low cost and there is a less trading, so management fees भी low होगा. So performance based, when they say okay potential to outperform benchmark, and the passive will be to replicate the benchmark. Example for active strategy is diversified MFA, PMSA, AIFA, any equity which is actively managed fund. Passive में index fund or ETF. So we will talk about active portfolio strategy first, then we'll talk about the passive. Okay. So as I said, active portfolio strategy दो टाइप का होता है. एक एसेट एलोकेशन बेस्ड, जहाँ पे हम एफडी या कोई भी एक एडवाइजर को लगता है कि नेक्स्ट 2 years 3 years में दिस विल बी द एलोकेशन स्ट्रेटजी व्हिच विल बी गुड फॉर द इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, देन दे एलोकेट अकॉर्डिंगली. और अ पर्टिकुलर एडवाइजर फील दैट क्लाइंट का रिस्क प्रोफाइल ऐसा है, इररेस्पेक्टिव व्हाट एवर मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी, उसका पोर्टफोलियो ऐसे ही बना रहे. वी विल गो अकॉर्डिंग टू हिज रिस्क प्रोफाइल. वी विल नॉट move his portfolio allocation based on market dynamics or market opportunity. We will continue with this. We'll stick to the strategy. So that is another risk-based investment strategy. Under asset allocation, I feel this is my experience and what I have seen the practices in market. There are 4 types of actively managed asset allocation strategy. One is life cycle based strategy. Second is fixed. Third is tactical, and fourth is dynamic. Am I audible? I just wanted to check.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. So इन्वेस्टमेंट में अगर आप रिस्क बेस्ड में आते हो तो कंजर्वेटिव, मॉडरेट, एग्रेसिव एंड वेरी. दिस इज अ वेरी सिंपल टर्म, एवरीवन नोज अबाउट दिस. दिस इज प्योरली ऑन द रिस्क प्रोफाइल ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर एंड दिस इज प्योरली ऑन द इंडिविजुअल, आई मीन एमएफटी के ऊपर और क्लाइंट के ऊपर भी होगा. So when we go, so we will talk about one and one very quickly so that we don't we cover up as soon as possible. So factor including life cycle based, एक लाइफ साइकिल बेस्ड पोर्टफोलियो स्ट्रेटेजी बनाना है तो एक इंडिविजुअल के लाइफ साइकिल के ऊपर है. तो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लाइफ साइकिल इज इनटू इट, वो किस लेवल पे है अपने लाइफ में, बेस्ड ऑन दैट वी बेसिकली डिसाइड द पोर्टफोलियो. तो द फैक्टर व्हिच इन्फ्लुएंसेस एज, टाइम होराइजन ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट, फाइनेंशियल गोल्स, उसके क्या क्या फाइनेंशियल गोल है, वो किस लिए इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है, whether he is planning for child education or retirement or some other XYZ requirement, और इसके कितने डिपेंडेंट है, how many people are dependent on his income, risk profile client का is aggressive or moderate or a low risk profile, और income stability, what kind of field into it, what kind of profile into it, क्या वो इस प्रोफाइल में है जहाँ पे इनकम जो जनरेशन है वो स्टेबिलिटी है या अनस्टेबिलिटी या सीजनल इनकम है. तो डिपेंड ऑन द इंडिविजुअल रिस्क प्रोफाइल एज वेल एज द इनकम स्टेबिलिटी. इसमें हम लोग बेसिकली दो तरीके से मैनेज कर सकते हैं लाइफ साइकिल. वन इज एज बेस्ड, आप एज के हिसाब से आप एलोकेशन कर दीजिए, एज बेस्ड एलोकेशन स्ट्रेटेजी, जिस लाइफ साइकिल में क्लाइंट है उस हिसाब से आप एलोकेट कीजिए, या एक्टिवली रीबैलेंस स्ट्रेटेजी, एज के साथ आप एक्टिवली रीबैलेंस कीजिए. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर एक इन्वेस्टर एज बेस्ड में यंग इंडिविजुअल है, सिंगल है, मैरिड नहीं है, कोई रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, बिगनिंग ऑफ द करियर है, तो इसके पास बहुत लंबा टाइम है इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए. ही विल हैव 30 years, maybe more than 20 years to invest. His risk profile will be very high risk, high level of risk tolerance. इसका in kind of what I do is basically this profile client के लिए we keep higher equity allocation somewhere between 85 to 90 or sometime 100 also, but at least 80% तो हम लोग equity में रखते ही इस profile के client का. Example हम लोग diversified equity में करते हैं, higher mid cap allocation, higher small cap allocation, sectoral bet भी खेल सकते हैं because he has a long term journey, investment journey with where he can stay with. So basically allocation what we suggest is 85-15 to our clients, and you can depend on your MFD to MFD. It can be 70-30 also, it can be 100, but generally since the time horizon for this kind of investors are very long, we suggest it aggressive. Second, when you have a family, you have a kids, you are in middle of the career, आप 10-12 साल job में हो चुके हो, आप एक middle management level में हो, you are almost near to peak of your career. You will have your parents' responsibility also. At the same time, you will have small kids. So this kind of profile career will have a medium to long term approach. ये हमेशा 10 से 15 साल का बारे में ज्यादा सोचेंगे because वो अपने बच्चे के एजुकेशन के बारे में सोचेंगे, अपना रिटायरमेंट भी सोचेंगे, घर का भी सोचेंगे, तो मल्टीपल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के बारे में सोचेंगे. तो यहाँ पे वो ग्रोथ के लिए सोचेगा. क्लाइंट will be more growth oriented, but at the same time he will not take much as high risk as and when he was a young or individual. So he will try to maintain balance allocation between equity and fixed income. जैसे diversified equity MFP हो सकता है, aggressive hybrid होगा, 75-25 ratio is what we suggest. Then the third category is pre-retirement individual, someone who is nearing retirement, maybe 50 में है, after 45 or maybe nearing 50, जहाँ पे very short duration he may plan to retire in next 5 to 10 years. Very little or low risk tolerance, ज़्यादा risk नहीं लेगा. Allocation majority will be on debt, but still will have a higher allocation equity. So it can be like 55 to 65% in equity and maybe 45 or 60-40 कर सकते हो आप. Depend on client risk profile. अगर वो let's say if a client decide to retire at 55 when he is at the age of 45, so he have 10, but the client say no, I'll work till 60, then we still have 15 years. So your allocation can differ based on the client retirement profile. The last is retired individual. यहाँ पे client अपना income चाहता है, he will think he need income. So basically यहाँ पे portfolio वो very conservative रहेगा, low risk रहेगा, low aim. I mean he will not have a very high he will not be very aggressive in terms of returns. He will be more concerned about capital function. Majority or complete of his investment may be in debt or fixed income instruments. Generally, I suggest that at least 80% of his investment should be in debt. Debt funds use कर सकते हो, equity saving fund जहाँ पे 70-30 या 80-20 allocation होता है equity और debt के बीच में, bonds है. So these are the profile age based. आप age के हिसाब से एक individual की age के हिसाब से how can you allocate a portfolio? तो 4 profile में divide किया है. One is young individual, when he is young, started his career, he has a very long journey, middle age, then pre-retirement and retirement. The next strategy within this is active rebalancing. यहाँ पे this is something which I follow. I follow for few of my clients, wherein we have decided an allocation and we will actively rebalance this portfolio maybe once in a year or maybe once in 6 months, depend on the client to client. तो आप allocate कर दो age के हिसाब से 85-15 या between 31 to 48 और 75-25 और quarterly, halfly, yearly, depend on your MFD. MFD किस चीज में comfortable है? अगर MFD aggressive है or we can give that kind of time where you can do quarterly or halfly, or maybe if you have too many clients, you cannot do quarterly, halfly, you can do at least once in a year. You can reshuffle the portfolio into same allocation. The objective is to be in a target. इसमें सबसे benefit क्या है? You will follow the principle of buy low, sell high. For example, you are meeting a client with the age of let's say 30 to 40. You have allocated 75% in equity and 25% in debt. अगर आपका 75% समझे 85 हो गया एक साल के बाद और 25 हो गया 30, तो आप क्या करोगे? वो 115 को फिर से 75-25 में अलोकेट कर दोगे. तो इससे क्या होगा? आपने जो इक्विटी में प्रॉफिट किया है वो थोड़ा बहुत बुक करके डेट में डाला है. अगर रिवर्स होता है, समझिए अगर मार्केट नीचे गया है और 75 बन गया 65 और 25 लेट्स से 30 है, तो आप थोड़ा सा डेट से आप री इन्वेस्ट करोगे इक्विटी में, तो यू विल बाय एट लो. So by following this principle, you will ensure that you maintain the allocation in equity debt at the same time rebalance the portfolio. So actively rebalancing करने से क्या होगा? Client का you will follow the principle of buy low and sell high, and it can give you a very good result. It has given me a result. Client has been happy with a certain clients which I am doing it, and basically I think this is a good strategy. what is more important, it will avoid emotional or impulsive decision based on short term market. हाँ हमको लग रहा है मार्केट टूट रहा है तो एक काम करते हैं 100% इक्विटी में डाल दे या 100% मिड कैप में डाल दे या 100% या 50% स्मॉल कैप. तो we will not go with the market timing, we will not go with the emotions, we will stick to the allocation and then just do the balancing based on the strategy. तो इससे क्या होगा, डिसिप्लिन होगा क्लाइंट के पास भी. इससे दो चीज का फायदा, ये आप मार्केट का फायदा उठा सकते हैं. whenever there is a correction in market, you have money in that to allocate in equity, and whenever there is an emergency to client, he will not disturb equity, you can give money from this. So it will work for both, in both the sides for you. Fixed weight, this is something which is where an MD meet a client and decide an allocation with a client. आप एक क्लाइंट के साथ अलोकेशन फिक्स कर दिए कि भाई 50% लार्ज कैप में डालना है या 30% स्मॉल कैप या 20% मिड कैप, या आप डिसाइड करते हो थोड़ा बहुत इक्विटी में, थोड़ा डेट में, थोड़ा कमोडिटी में, एंड यू स्टिक टू दैट पर्टिकुलर अलोकेशन. तो इट डिपेंड ऑन इंडिविजुअल टू इंडिविजुअल. कैसे how an individual want to fix it depend on risk profile of the client, income, investment horizon of a customer. So once you decide this, you remain a fixed and you keep the portfolio accordingly. जब भी client top up करेगा equally allocate कर दीजिए, तो क्या होगा, you maintain that that allocation, and in long term you get advantage of both debt, equity and the commodity, or maybe gold, silver, whatever allocation you decide, you will get equally benefited. तो balance देगा portfolio. So next strategy is the third one, tactical. So tactical is most of us which do. We try to take advantage of short-term market movement. For example, it involves actively adjusting asset allocation within the portfolio. For example, अगर market 20% गिरा है और थोड़ा बहुत पैसा हमारा डेट में है, तो हम इमीडिएटली इक्विटी में मूव करेंगे, और जब मार्केट रिकवर होगा फिर से प्रॉफिट बुक करके हम लोग डेट में डालेंगे. तो this can be done on a tactical basis, depend on the market timing, market जो भी मार्केट में अपने मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स यू कैन से, और टाइमिंग ऑफ मार्केट, और मे बी आप टेक्निकल एनालिसिस फॉलो करते हो, आप RSI फॉलो करते हो, RSI 70 पे अभी मार्केट गिरेगा तो थोड़ा बहुत डेट में डाल देंगे, जब 35 से इन्वेस्ट करेंगे. That depend to MFD what kind of strategy you follow. This can be one of the strategy, but this is a very high risk and this require very high commitment from MFD. When you follow this, you need a very higher commitment because आपको ज्यादा टाइम देना पड़ेगा पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज करने के लिए और मॉनिटर करने के लिए. तो very few people follow, and people who follow, they follow very religiously to ensure that client make money. But I feel that it is very difficult to follow ritually if someone is because I've given this as a strategy because I have seen that some people follow, and I feel that basically in my experience, I feel that this is very difficult to follow, and sometimes you can make error in the portfolio. means आपने सोचा अभी मार्केट ऊपर जाएगा और ना जाके अगर करेक्शन आ गया है तो then it may hit the portfolio. So the strategy was higher risk potential error. आप अगर सही से टाइमिंग नहीं कर पाए तो पोर्टफोलियो में बहुत खराब परफॉर्मेंस भी हो सकता है. तो जैसे आप सेक्टर रोटेशन कर दो, किसी को सेक्टर में डाल दिया, आईटी में डाल दिया, या ऑटोमोबाइल में, या एफएमसीजी में, फार्मा में आप सेक्टर रोटेट कर रहे हो, तो अगर टाइमिंग सही नहीं है तो आपका पोर्टफोलियो हिट हो सकता है. या आप डेट टू इक्विटी करो या कमोडिटी करो, वाइस वर्सा. So this strategy is purely playing on the market sentiments and the technical analysis. Dynamic asset, this is like, I'm sure everyone knows about it. Basically यहाँ पे है कि goal is to for a moderate or a conservative client where you want to be, where dynamically we manage. So basically आप अगर देखोगे तो BAF आता है, जैसे BAF strategy है, इसमें there is nothing much, everyone knows about it. Asset allocation इसमें pre-defined होता है, जैसे 30 to 70% है, या debt between 30 to 60 है, gold between 10 to 30 है. तो you already इस type of strategy में you pre-allocate, and आप एक लेवल पे डिसाइड करते हो कि आपको कितना इक्विटी में रहना है, कितना डेट में रहना है, कितना कमोडिटी में. यू कैन से मल्टी एसेट एलोकेशन या मल्टी एसेट स्ट्रेटेजी भी हो सकता है. एंड द गोल ऑफ दिस इज टू ऑप्टिमाइज रिस्क प्रोफाइल ऑफ द पोर्टफोलियो बाय एक्टिवली एलोकेटिंग द assets based on market outlook, economic indicators and other relevant factors. जो मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स है या जो भी अदर चीज है वहाँ पे आप फॉलो करके मार्केट एनालिसिस या मार्केट इंडिकेटर या एसेट एलोकेशन का टारगेट फॉलो करके आप डायनामिकली पोर्टफोलियो एलोकेट करो. So this is one of the strategy which many people follow, and if you don't follow, then directly what you can do is you can follow the volatility coach का एक अपना एक ये है. I can show you. 1 second. This is this thing asset allocator. For example, यहाँ पे आप अगर देखोगे, आप अपना ये डाल दीजिए या जो भी whichever client profile and say that you can take medium risk and he has a let's say 5 years and let's say if you prefer small and mid, it's okay. Otherwise, it will show you what allocation you should keep for this. अगर आप नहीं कर पाते हो, तो you can really follow this. Purely is based on the last so many years of data which they have framed in this website. You can follow this asset allocation. And अगर आपको client very conservative, you don't want mid and small, then allocation automatically change हो जाएगा. Or you can say no, prefer big companies, then it will become purely large stocks. Portfolio asset change होगा. Depend on client to client profile, आपका allocation change हो सकता है. You can follow this is the one of the asset allocation strategy which will help you to decide इसमें कितना. जैसे for example आपका risk profile change हो जाता है, age bracket client का अलग है, then the allocation will also change and risk profile will become let's say low instead of very low. Then automatically it will show that what allocation you should keep, and then you can give that allocation. जैसे जैसे क्लाइंट का एज बैंड चेंज होगा, लोकेशन भी चेंज होगा, आप भी ऑटोमेटिकली यू कैन टेक हेल्प ऑफ दिस कैलकुलेटर एंड मॉनिटर द क्लाइंट पोर्टफोलियो. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द थिंग. Yeah. So this is just a data of last 10 years. You can see how different asset class has performed in which year. किस ईयर में लार्ज कैप परफॉर्म किया है, किस ईयर में मिड कैप किया, किसी में S&P 500 है जो इंटरनेशनल है, नैस्डैक है जो इंटरनेशनल है, स्मॉल कैप, बॉन्ड इंडेक्स, गोल्ड, सिल्वर. So every asset class will have a different. There will be a winner. Someone, let's say for example, in 13, US Nasdaq has done the best performance compared to next is S&P 500. So जैसे 14 में mid cap has done, 15 में mid cap has done. यहाँ पे सिल्वर ने अच्छा किया है, यहाँ पे स्मॉल कैप ने अच्छा किया है. तो एवरी ईयर देयर आर डिफरेंट एसेट क्लास. तो द बेस्ट थिंग इज टू हैव अ मिक्स ऑफ दिस सो दैट you manage it. No, you are there in every part of the allocation and the client benefits from either one of the other asset classes. So risk based, as I said, conservative है. You allocate based on the risk profile, or you do a risk profile of a client and then you decide client किस category में आता है, conservative है, moderate है, high है, very high है. Then you allocate the portfolio. So basically the primary allocation portfolio strategy for such client is to protect capital, and the investor are ready to compromise on return instead of taking risk. Or a client है जो who wants a regular income. So this category of client will also basically would like to have the conservative. जैसे कोई retired individual है या client who want a monthly income or who is this covers can be fit into this. So यहाँ पे जो products हम we can suggest is debt funds, equity saving, dynamic bank category है, bonds, corporate fixed deposit, REITs, PPF. Time horizon usually is short term or mid term or maybe investment horizon. Short term इसलिए दिया है because let's say you have a client who is aggressive but he needs money after 2-3 years. Then basically you allocate it to this category rather than allocating. Though his risk profile is high risk, but you can always put it to short term. Since his requirement is in short term, you put in a conservative portfolio. Moderate portfolio where you want to balance risk and return, and he may not take high risk, but at the same time you want to beat FDs or inflation with a substantial growth. So this kind of customers are moderate profile, and the kind of funds we suggest them is basically diversified equity, MF, maybe large cap bias or hybrid funds, BAF. The time horizon for such client basically is medium to long term, maybe 5 years plus, and you can adjust. They try to balance the risk with the growth. Aggressive client. So these are the categories. I'm sure. See, I don't have to talk more because we are doing this on daily basis. So I just put it in the PPT because this is one of the strategy which anyone will follow. Investor willing to take significant risk and have a high tolerance, substantial, and they are ready to pay substantial volatility in the portfolio, willing to take higher risk for higher returns. Asset allocation for such investor will be majorly in equity related stocks, diversified equity, PMS. आप PMS में डाल सकते हो, MF में aggressive MF में डाल सकते हो, mid cap portfolio डाल सकते हो. So these are the kind of high risk portfolio strategy. These investors are usually very long term, have a very long term time horizon for investment, say 10 year plus kind of a profile. Then these are the high risk profile clients. When you do a risk profiling, you come to this category. The exceptionally high risk, the portfolio basically such investor we suggest is alternatives, PMS, AI, maybe sector allocation. So the time horizon will be maybe sometime client want to make a quick money because some sector may do well. जैसे कोई अभी बोलेगा आईटी सेक्टर बहुत डाउन है, नेक्स्ट 2-3 साल में अगर आईटी अच्छा करेगा तो allocate my 30% in IT. So he might, because his risk profile is high, he might allocate even for short duration. But at the same time, he is ready to take the risk. अगर IT नहीं किया तो he is ready to take the hit also. So generally, this kind of profile of the investor also there for us. These are the suggestions what we can give, or maybe we can expose to him. So if you see, consider this four category in one chart. The allocation what we can give is based on the profile. Conservative के लिए, as I said, bond, government bonds, dividend, BAF, equity saving schemes. Moderate के लिए BAF है, multi asset fund है, aggressive hybrid index, large cap bias funds. Very aggressive के लिए, you can say aggressive के लिए credit risk funds, in debt fund also, foreign investments, mid cap, small cap, PMS, and very aggressive के लिए mid cap, small cap, sectoral bet. Maybe they are ready to invest in crypto, art funds, commodity, alternate investments. So these are high risk profile, very high risk profile clients. Then passive portfolio. I'm sure these are the portfolio wherein customer से मुझे फंड मैनेजर का रिस्क नहीं चाहिए, मुझे निफ्टी फॉलो करना है, जितना निफ्टी दे दे उतना मुझे अगर रिटर्न आ गया तो काफी है मेरे लिए. I don't want to take individual bias in terms of portfolio management. So then we can provide this kind of investment strategy, which is purely index based, and this portfolio will replicate the index. The investment starting to see replicate performance of index, lower cost, active when compared to actively managed. It allows investor to gain exposure in cyclical market segment asset class without extensive. इसमें रिसर्च भी ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं है, क्लाइंट को ज्यादा रिसर्च की जरूरत है. हम एज एन एमएफडी को भी ज्यादा रिसर्च की नहीं है कि कौन सा पोर्टफोलियो सेलेक्ट करें, उसका पीई क्या है, उसका टर्नओवर रेशियो क्या है, उसका टर्निंग रेशियो क्या है, उसका past performance क्या है. You don't have to do much research before suggesting. You know these are the index. You just provide this index. What to do is the risk profile of the client. कितना इक्विटी में है, कितना डेट में डालना है, you have to decide. Then you can directly allocate. So this is the passive investing. So anyone, sorry. Before moving, I just wanted to check if anyone has any doubts still here or someone has written anything in chat box. Okay, no one. Okay, fine. So I'll go ahead. So basically, this is a risk profiler which we use. Basically, we send this QR code to client. If you just scan it, there's a poster Google Forms. I can show you here.
Sir, you are on mute, I think.
Sorry. Is it visible? Hello?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
So basically, this is the risk profile poster we follow. I'll just share you the details. हम लोग client को एक QR code आप scan कर लीजिए और then fill up it. So we will get the intimation client का क्या risk profile है क्या है. We will send them a mail. I'll just show you how it works. 1 second. So basically, is it visible?
हाँ सर विजिबल है.
तो जैसे क्लाइंट ने अपना नाम लिख दिया, I'll just take 2 minutes here. So जैसे how much knowledge you have about investment market, I don't follow. Yeah, you can just basically. So let's say I can choose anything. So basically, जैसे client choose करता है ये सब question and answer. When he submits it finally, we will get the response. Then we will send him a mail saying that your risk profile is so and so, and the portfolio आपके लिए ये है. Then we go and we discuss with the client so that, and it will be recorded. Client के लिए recorded रहेगा कि हाँ उसका है. And we do once in a year. क्योंकि what happens sometimes, client का risk profile time period के हिसाब से change भी हो सकता है. Maybe not significantly, but to an extent. जैसे for example, today you have decided a client is a high risk profile. Maybe after 1 year, suddenly some commitment has come. He has to spend too much money there, and suddenly उसको लगेगा कि मेरा commitment ज़्यादा है, मुझे next 4-5 साल के पैसे की ज़्यादा जरूरत है. I don't want to take risk. So maybe for short duration, this risk profile can become moderate and change होता है. So once in a year, when you do a risk profiling of the client, you will know whether the portfolio, whatever you have allocated, is in line with the client's requirement or not. नहीं है तो आपके पास mail record है. You can show them this is what we discussed last time and this is how we allocated. And we can say, sir, अभी आपका risk profile change आ रहा है, should be reallocated according to current profile or will stick to the previous. So you can have a personal discussion and then go accordingly. So this is what we basically do. As I said that you can also basically follow this volatility game का जो allocation strategy है. There I said that there are 3-4 strategies which I feel very good, which I generally have used in the recent past. जैसे human life calculator है या composite financial cost planning है या asset allocation calculator which I just showed you. जैसे for example अगर आप ये देखते हो composite financial where you go with a specific goal of a client कि उसका क्या requirement है, कितना उनको चाहिए. I'm on mute. No. Okay. I saw the message right. Sorry. Okay. So when you decide any amount, then it will give you the output. Very good. बहुत अच्छा से बनाया हुआ है. I think if we follow, we will have a standard way of managing things. अगर आपके पास अपना कुछ strategy नहीं है या profiler नहीं है, then you can follow some of this composite financial cost planning calculator where you can come with a particular based on the age, based on the requirement, based on the risk profile. You can decide how much money is required and उस हिसाब से आप allocate कर सकते हो. For example, what is the amount you need to fill for a child? जैसे अगर मुझे 10 लाख चाहिए अपने बच्चे के एजुकेशन, 10 lakhs for example या 10, 75, 10. Let's say 1075. And what amount you would need to consider yourself wealthy for? अगर आपको कितना चाहिए तो आप सोचते हो कि आपके रिटायरमेंट के लिए काफी होगा. You say let's say 2 crore for example. And what amount you need to spend on buying item of your dream? जैसे कोई फॉरेन हॉलिडे है तो समझे आपने रखा 5 लाख रुपए या जो भी एक अमाउंट आपको लगता है सही है. देन करंट एज आप डाल दीजिए अपना, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल 35. Then what age you are planning to acquire as well? जैसे मैं रिटायरमेंट समझिए 20 साल 55. Current age of a child जैसे let's say 5 साल. What is your age child would be ready for professional education? You can say 18. How many years you need the amount to spend buying your dream? How many years you need? So let's say मेरे पास 5 साल है. 5 years के बाद मुझे ये अमाउंट चाहिए जो मुझे हॉलीडे प्लान करना है, फॉरेन ट्रिप जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल. द एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन, आप कितना इन्फ्लेशन एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो? तो लेट्स से आई एक्सपेक्ट 7 या 6 एनफ है. व्हाट रेट ऑफ रिटर्न वुड यू एक्सपेक्ट ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट? जैसे मैं एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ 12% फॉर एग्जांपल. अभी आपका सेविंग कितना है, जैसे मैं समझे आई से लेट्स से 5 लाख आएगा, yes 5.5 lakh. So you will see the output here automatically and then you can follow. I'm sorry यहाँ पे 55 बना, it is 55. I put 20 years for the time period, but actually I should put 55 years age. So then it will show me how much monthly saving is required for all these goals. And then accordingly we can tell client. तो instant आपका planning हो गया है, एजुकेशन के लिए सर आपको इतना करना है, वेल्थ बनाने के लिए इतना करना है, आपके ट्रिप पे एक्सपेंस के लिए इतना है, टोटल आपको इतना है, and then you can tell monthly इतना आपको SIP करना है. तो it's instant in the front of a client. You can immediately do the planning and you can show the allocation के हर एक पर्टिकुलर गोल के लिए आप कितना allocate करना है, कितना रिटर्न, कितना एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न है और उसके लिए कितना सेविंग करना है. So this can be immediate solution also for you. So another thing which I want to show you is the asset allocation, which basically I am doing for my super HNI clients. These are the clients which are like super HNI. इनका portfolio बहुत बड़ा है मेरे पास और I have taken last 10 years data and how we can follow asset allocation, how it is going to help. What I have done is I have taken last 10 years performance of all these asset class. जैसे Nifty 50 का एक मैंने ETF ले लिया है, उसका 10 साल का performance, ETF और debt fund. So I have taken the 10 years performance. Let's say for example अगर कोई मुझे 10 लाख दे रहा है, right? So 10 lakh is invested and I feel that I should allocate 50% here, 25% in maybe gold, 25% in debt. समझ लीजिए. So then क्या होगा? The overall return will become 9% if I do rebalancing. So when I do rebalancing, what I do is end of the year I go back. जैसे for example end of the first year में 12% के हिसाब से मेरा 10 लाख हो गया, 11 लाख, no 11 lakh 22,000 for example. I will reallocate this asset allocated again to 50, 25, 25 ratio. So what will happen? I will distribute again this 11 lakh 22,000 into this 50, 50, 25, 25. By doing this asset allocation, I rebalance every year. If I do this for next 10 years, based on the allocation, if you see last Nifty 50 ETF has, this ETF has given 8.8, gold has given 7.756. So generally अगर आप overall देखोगे 7.2% generate हुआ है. अगर मैं rebalancing नहीं करूँगा, so I will get 7.2% return in this portfolio. By doing rebalancing, I am generating 9%. So there is an alpha of 1.8% over the portfolio performance. On a regular basis, means this is rebalancing done once in a year. We are not doing every time quarterly or halfly. I'm saying one. Probably, let's say if I decide to put, instead of this, I decide to put, let's say 50% in gold and 50% in this, then probably the returns might increase 9.36 compared to what this portfolio has done. देखिए 10 साल में this ETF has given 8.84% and gold has given 7.4. But by doing rebalancing, I am able to generate beat these two index also. इस दोनों portfolio के performance को भी हम beat कर रहे हैं. So this is the power of rebalancing, and I think by doing rebalancing at least once in a year, it will help the client portfolio and you can jumble like how you want it. For example, आप बोलते हो 60% इसमें डालना है, 40% gold or 20% debt, then the portfolio performance will change. So you are good. How much alpha? So you can tell, sir, आपका portfolio मैंने, though you are investing in regular fund, मैंने आपका पूरा expense ratio recover करके दे दिया है. So whatever the expense which is there in the fund, it has been recovered completely. So that is the advantage you can get by actively managing, and that's where your skills will play an important role. Allocation or a portfolio while constructing the portfolio strategy. So that's it. Any doubt? Anyone have any query? Please.
Sir, here rebalancing में every time the taxation will be very high, right?
Right. वो रहेगा. See, basically क्या होगा? आप दो चीज देख सकते हो. ये कह के आप टैक्स के बारे में सोचो या रिटर्न के बारे में सोचो. Right. If you're booking a profit for a client, we will not mind paying tax. But if you don't perform, even though you have saved the tax, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर एक पोर्टफोलियो है जो 9% रिटर्न दिया है और एक पोर्टफोलियो रीबैलेंस पे 11 या 12% किया है, तो क्लाइंट इज हैप्पी टू पे सम टैक्स बिकॉज देयर इज एन एक्टिवली अल्फा ऑफ 3% अबव द पोर्टफोलियो. जनरली दिस इज बीन माय एक्सपीरियंस. व्हाई? बिकॉज वी विल टेल क्लाइंट सर अगर हमको रीबैलेंस करना है, अगर आपको एक्टिवली मैनेज करना है तो हमको प्रॉफिट बुक करना पड़ेगा. वी विल एलोकेट इन द asset class डिपेंड ऑन द either you do tactical or you do age based allocation or you do strategically जो आपने क्लाइंट के रिस्क प्रोफाइल के हिसाब से डिसाइड किया. तो once you follow it then you follow it principally. See I am saying यहाँ पे सिर्फ क्योंकि ये 10 साल में परफॉर्मेंस ठीक ठीक था. फॉर एग्जांपल आप देखोगे सेंसेक्स 2013 में करीबन 27-28 हजार था, प्रॉब्ली क्लोज टू 30,000 था और अभी 60 है. तो 10 साल में रिटर्न इतना नहीं है. बट अगर आप 5 साल का देखोगे तो अल्फा विल बी 5 to 6% देन द नॉर्मल पोर्टफोलियो. मीन जो आपका एसेट एलोकेशन से रिटर्न एक्स्ट्रा जनरेट होगा वो 5 से 6% होगा बिकॉज ऑफ द टाइम पीरियड. तो आई हैव टेकन 10 इयर्स. इन 10 इयर्स में काफी बेसिकली अगर आप देखोगे, इफ आई विल शेयर यू द शीट अगेन, अगर आप देखोगे तो इस 10 साल में 3 साल गोल्ड ने आउट परफॉर्म किया है, 4 साल आई मीन 6 टाइम्स निफ्टी ने आउट परफॉर्म किया है, 3 साल गोल्ड और एक बार डेट ने किया है. So there have been year where gold has done well. There have been year where equity has done well. So, but if I have to see last 5 years, there are period like gold has given 35, 16, 19. So when I allocate here, the outperformance is much higher when I do reallocation. Because for example, जब यहाँ पे मार्केट 25% टूटा और मैंने यहाँ से प्रॉफिट बुक करके यहाँ पे allocate एक्स्ट्रा हुआ है by rebalancing. Then next year that has given me 80% growth compared to 3% gold compared to 5% in debt. So I am helping the investor to generate a higher growth by doing asset allocator. So how you use it important, but you can still use it. And see basically दो चीजें इसमें, एक है कि आप कितना actively manage करने का. One is you give active funds. Secondly, how you want to actively manage, and you cannot do for every client. आप हर एक client के लिए नहीं कर सकते, but 20% of the client which give maximum share of revenue, you can do for them. ये generally क्या होता है, बहुत सारे client होते हैं, they want to see what is your value add in managing portfolio. आप अपना क्या value add दे रहे हो portfolio manage करने के लिए, so they would like to see that. So in this place you can show that सर देखिए ये फंड ने सिर्फ 8% दिया है, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस मैंने 11% जनरेट किया है और 3% एक्स्ट्रा अल्फा जनरेट किया है. तो देयर इज वेयर यू कैन डू योर वैल्यू एडेड.
I think Nitin ji has a question. He's raising his hand. So Nitin ji, you can unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to ask one thing. When we are allotting the equity, we are also distributing the money, equity in form of large cap, mid cap, and small cap. But there are certain funds such as growth fund, value funds, and momentum funds. They used to generate, they used to give a better return during the volatility period also. So, what should be our strategy? Either go to a large cap, mid cap, small cap, or different funds, or we should we should take such funds like growth fund or value funds, or actually they have the blend of all the three sectors of large, mid, and small cap. So what would be the much better option for us? Thank you.
Yeah, I would say what I do, then you can take whatever answer I'm giving is making sense for you. So basically, first you decide आपको आपका playing ground क्या है. For example, I will decide some set of investment portfolio which has consistently generated return for investor, not going with a trend. Trend जल्दी एक साल के लिए value गया, एक साल के लिए growth गया, या कोई sector theme गया. Whether you want to play in such field or you want to play in a portfolio which is consistent giving returns over a period of 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. For example, multi-cap portfolio है, या large mid-cap portfolio, या flexi-cap portfolio. No, you decide आपको आपका overall placement क्या हो रहा है जैसे portfolio है. So when you decide certain categories of कैटेगरीज ऑफ फंड्स, इसी में हमको इन्वेस्ट को रखना है, बिकॉज कस्टमर को वैल्यू अच्छा है या ग्रोथ अच्छा है या मोमेंटम अच्छा है, ये कौन डिसाइड कर रहा है? हम ही कर रहे हैं, क्लाइंट डिसाइड कर रहा है। एंड ऑफ द डे वी आर डिसाइडिंग क्लाइंट के लिए कौन सा अच्छा है। तो when you decide first what is your playing field, आपको किस चीज में रहना है, whether आपको मोमेंटम देना है और देना है तो क्यों देना है, you should know first that. So once you decide आपका playing ground, then it is easy for you to allocate a portfolio and do the balancing of the portfolio. For example, आप अगर मोमेंटम फंड दे रहे हो किसी को, जो 230 मोमेंटम जो इंडेक्स फंड है, तो you have to give that portfolio at least for 5-year horizon. Worst scenario 3-year plus, because that strategy will not perform in 1 or 2 years or even 3 years sometimes. That strategy only work for 5 years. तो आप क्लाइंट का रिस्क प्रोफाइलिंग कीजिए या आप क्लाइंट का पोर्टफोलियो कंस्ट्रक्ट करने के टाइम आप व्हाट इज योर ऑब्जेक्टिव बिहाइंड इट, you want to do regular rebalancing or you want to invest it and keep it for long term. So once you decide that strategy, then you go accordingly to fund selection. For example, I have given momentum or a value kind of a portfolio to client whom I don't have to do rebalancing regularly, who are doing, let's say, for example, an investment for 5 years plus period, and who are not, then I don't think that I need to do a regular rebalance or actively manage kind of a portfolio. Rather, I spend my time with my 20 or 25% of top client more to do active rebalancing, because there my involvement with those clients are required regularly, because these are super HNI or HNI, and these people will have so many other people to approach regularly. जैसे अगर आपका एक HNI client है, उसको 10 लोग और चेस कर रहे हैं, whether banking people हो या wealth management वाले हो या other advisor हो, कोई भी है, तो how much you are involved with them regularly, quarterly once meet कर रहे हो या आप किस frequency में उनके साथ मिल रहे हो, and what kind of value added service you show, कि आप कैसे actively manage कर रहे हो और कैसे उनको अल्फा दे रहे हो, that will give you more, you can say investments from those clients and they will stick to you. कभी कभी क्या होता है, बहुत सारे क्लाइंट को लगता है जो आपको अच्छा काफी बड़ा पैसा दे रहा है, कि you have invested and not done, you have not interacted with them for a long period, maybe 6 months and maybe 6 months period of time, and they feel that you are not doing actively anything on that, so that mindset will come. So when you go and decide a strategy, sir हम लोग आपका 100 रुपए 50 रुपीज हम लोग इक्विटी में डालेंगे, 30 रुपीज हम लोग डेट में डालेंगे, 20 गोल्ड में डालेंगे, और इसी को एक बार 6 महीने में, हर 6 महीने में हम लोग रीअलोकेट करेंगे और रीबैलेंस करेंगे, then client is also mentally prepared कि हाँ, he will not expect a regular churning or regular rebalance of portfolio until unless you make it clear. तो जैसे अगर आपने बोला मोमेंटम वैल्यू इतने ब्लेंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट है, डिपेंड ऑन क्लाइंट टू क्लाइंट. I will not say that it is a universe, it is specific to client. Generally, I don't do that kind of strategy. I decided my basket. जैसे मुझे सिर्फ मल्टी कैप करना है, मिड कैप करना है, लार्ज कैप या लार्ज मिड कैप करना है. I keep my portfolio, let's say 50% large, 30% mid, 20% small. That is a standard I keep until unless the risk profile of the client is very high, where I increase mid and small. I make 40, 30, 30 in that case. Otherwise, I keep standard 50, 30, 20. I do rebalancing once in a year generally, because 6 महीने में किसी का ट्रेंड समझ में नहीं आएगा, और जो जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अनटिल कोई बड़ा फॉल है या कोई बड़ा ट्रिगर आ गया मार्केट में, जैसे सडनली एक महीने में मार्केट ने 10% it has appreciated or it has 10%, then you have to step in and do the rebalancing. Otherwise it is not required regularly, maybe quarterly basis. halfly आप कर सकते हो if time permits you and if you can really commit to it. Otherwise yearly once is good enough, I feel. ये हर्षित जी का क्वेश्चन था जो मैंने अभी आंसर किया.
Any more questions we have for today?
So just one last question. What should be the deviation from the original asset allocation to consider for rebalance?
The deviation is again when you do once in a year. जब आप साल में एक बार risk profiling करोगे client का, जब भी मिलते हो, तो when you use that questionnaire, right, initially when you allocate it, So once you do a risk profile of a client, or you don't do in a structured way, but at least with the interaction and try to when you rediscuss the client portfolio, हमने ये decide किया था ऐसे है और ऐसा ये performance है, and उस time पे client से नहीं थोड़ा और इससे लो, I'm okay with it. Then you decide. जैसे I'll tell you one example of live example of what has happened today. I have a client, when I met him 5 years back, उसने कहा चेतन जी मुझे आप कुछ भी करो, इक्विटी डालो, कुछ भी करो, but don't try to expose very high risk because I can't see my capital going down very significantly. तो फिर मैंने large cap bias portfolio रखा. Then after 1 or 2 years, portfolio delivered about 11.5-12% return. तो client ने बोला कि ये काफी अच्छा है, but then the son came in between. His son, I met his son because he also joined his business and all. तो बोला नहीं आप थोड़ा mid cap में कीजिए, small cap में कीजिए, इसमें तो फिर 10-11 में क्या मजा आएगा. We need at least 15-20 or at least 18-20% growth because mid cap and small cap keep certain return. मैंने बोला नहीं, हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव ये था कि ज्यादा रिस्क नहीं लेना है. Then client father said, okay, you do one thing, 70% आप safe रखो, 30% risk ले लो. Then I designed it. I choose some multi-cap funds. I choose some mid-cap funds. And तो मैंने 2019 में उसका portfolio rebalance किया and we took the debate. And yesterday when I met client, he said, Chetan, I'm giving you additional 50 lakhs. I want completely into high risk. I don't जो है वो जोड़ने दीजिए, but ये portfolio आप पूरा risk में खेलिए. I want completely in mid and small. I don't want in large. I have enough in large. So then we have to take the debate. We will, though we have done the profiler, we have done the proper discussion, but अभी client का confidence level high है because he has seen in last 5 years, he has seen the performance of the portfolio in last 5 years. He is happy with the portfolio, and now he feels that even if we take higher risk, जो actual principal है वो नीचे नहीं आ पाएगा. For example, उसका 100 रुपए का portfolio 5 साल के बाद अब करीबन 215-220 रुपए है. So he knows that कुछ भी हो जाए मेरा 100 रुपए से नीचे नहीं आएगा. So he is ready to take high risk. So then when we do the risk profiling once in a year, probably maybe 6 months के बाद, so then you will know, okay, client का deviation कितना ले सकते हैं, या deviation ज़्यादा लेना है, या aggressive से conservative बनना है. For example, I'll give you another example of my client. एक client था, he was a high risk client. Suddenly during COVID, business down हो गया उसका. So then he was not able to contribute. He asked me to stop SIP. And he told me, till things are improved, I'll not do the SIPs. So then I said, okay, portfolio काफी गिरा हुआ था, तो it was understood because he was a high risk profile customer. तो उसको पता था market उठा तो सब नीचे रहेगा, but I was regularly interacting. जब market नीचे, when market recovered by October, November, when Sensex again came back to 45-46, and I waited till about December when it was 50 plus. I went to client saying that, sir, अभी आप लोग SIP स्टार्ट करना नहीं करना. He said नहीं चेतन, बिजनेस अभी भी थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है. I think I may require another 5 to 6 months. Then what did I do is I told him, sir, market थोड़ा अच्छा रिकवर हो गया है. Why don't we book profit and keep 20% in debt? तो मैंने डेट में रखा है because I said that he might ask money anytime because बिजनेस इतना नहीं चल रहा है. कमिटमेंट तो कमिटमेंट तो रहेगा, स्टाफ को सैलरी देना है, रेंट देना है, कमिटमेंट रहेगा. So I insisted him to book the profit and keep 20% debt when his profile was completely high risk. Now I can only do when I do reprofiling. When I do reprofiling, I will know his risk covers ज़्यादा लेगा देगा. And it happened in March or April. He asked me some money and I gave it from the debt fund. So I didn't disturb the equity portfolio. So that's how basically when you meet regularly, when you do reprofiling of the client, you will understand whether he want to continue with high risk or you want to change the portfolio. और conservative client को moderate आना है या moderate से conservative जाना है. Deviation you can sense it. See, MFT का यही फायदा है. आप personally मिल के जा रहे हो और आप client से इतना अच्छा relation रख रहे हो कि कुछ बातें आप client को आपसे share करेगा, which is out of the box, and you will catch up. अच्छा ये चीज है तो he might ask money next 3 to 6 months anytime. You will get that. Based on that, you can act instead of waiting till the time period. I hope I answered.
Question was not pertaining to standard deviation from risk profile. I meant deviation from the original asset allocation. So मान लो कि अगर 70% equity, 60% equity में है, तो वो 63% हो गया equity, तो भी आपको asset allocation करना है, या आपको at least minimum 5% का asset allocation करना है.
So there are two things. You can trigger two things. One is percentage based rebalancing or time based rebalancing. परसेंटेज मींस आप डिसाइड करो 60 का 70 होगा तो आप रीबैलेंसिंग कर लोगे, या 60 का 65 करोगे तो रीबैलेंसिंग करोगे, या टाइम में हर 6 महीने में रीबैलेंसिंग करूंगा, कुछ भी हो जाए, या एक साल में एक बार करूंगा.
थैंक्स.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है डेट गोल्ड के ऊपर चैट बॉक्स में.
How much percentage do you allocate debt and gold? See, basically what I do is especially for a customer जो bulk दे रहा है, I try to allocate always 30% in debt. Okay, debt or gold. The reason is two things. One is when someone is giving big money, we can ask to immediately higher amount also. जैसे कोई अगर 50 लाख दे रहा है तो 10-15 लाख वो वापस कभी भी पूछ सकता है. So what I do is basically keep 25 to 30% always in debt. There are two reasons. One is to take advantage of market. अगर market गिरता है, I can use that money to buy more. Or whenever client is asking, कुछ emergency में requirement आएगा, I will not disturb equity and I give there from the debt. So that is the strategy which I follow for a big clients, wherein you can do an asset allocation or you can say emergency funding की तरफ है. Until and we will get, see, most of the time I feel that once in 6 months you get opportunity to allocate from 30% to equity. आप वो जो 30% या 25% जो भी इक्विटी में डेट में रख रहे हो, उसके लिए आपको हर 6 महीने में एक अपॉर्चुनिटी आएगा जब मार्केट 5% या 10% करेक्ट होता है. 5% तो होता ही होता है बहुत बार, तो आप उसमें तो थोड़ा 10% या 15% मूव करके अगेन व्हेन इट कम टू द ओरिजिनल पोजीशन, maybe 6 months or later again you can book some 10% keep in debt. So what is happening is you are not doing too much of churning, only 10% movement कर रहा है, तो taxation भी इतना ज्यादा नहीं होगा. At the same time you are ensuring that you are taken advantage of it. See, basically if you try to do too many churning, too many times of rebalancing, it will only hurt your portfolio. Once in a year is a very good time period, and if you can do much aggressively than 6 months में एक बार, वो भी मुझे लगता है ज्यादा है, but 6 months में एक बार is ideal, it is good enough.
Any more questions we have for today? So I think we are done, sir. So yeah.
Chetan bhai, good evening. Chetan bhai, good evening.
Good evening, Rajesh.
Excellent session, excellent.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. आशा है कि सबको पसंद आया है. I tried my best to give maximum information.
तो यश जी ने दे दिया बूम बूम.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you all of you for attending. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.